Saturday, and it's time for the Experts program on Power Talk Radio, 1460 and 101 FM. Luis Alvarez, our tech expert from Alvarez Technology Group, joining us right now. Good morning, Luis.
Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Doing pretty good. It's Air Show weekend. Are you going to get a chance to make it out and see the Blue Angels?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. One of the nice things about having our office in downtown Salinas is we get to watch them practice and rehearse during the week, and then we watch them fly over, and it makes you just want to get out there during the weekend to see the real thing.
Now, where you live in Monterey, though, you're right near the Monterey Peninsula Airport. So I understand the Blue Angels land and take off from Monterey. So do you hear them at your house and see them?
Oh, yeah. We are right on the flight path to the airport. But what's cool is that when they come in for landing, they do a little kind of mini air show for the residents of Monterey. They'll trail some smoke and do a couple of loop-de-loops and things like that before they land. So it's kind of it's kind of a fun little thing that they've done for the last few years whenever they get to the to the airport to land. So I got to see some of that too.
I remember the last time they were here, like 10 years ago or so, I was over at my folks' house in New Monterey, and I remember the Blue Angels flying over New Monterey. They went out over the bay and did a big loop, and then they went to the airport.
Yep.
So that's kind of fun. So it'll be here. We're going to be out there on Sunday, tomorrow. We'll be doing radio shows and everything like that. So hoping we can get the Blue Angel pilots on the air if possible.
Oh, that would be fun. Those guys are straight up military guys, but man, they have some great stories to tell.
Hey, this reminds me, it must have been over 20 years ago, one time when the Blue Angels were here, and I was still with the Lions Club volunteering out at Laguna Seca. And I remember that when they'd have the air show, this is back when the air show was in the fall, and we would have the IndyCar race on the same weekend as the air show. We would get a show of the Blue Angels over Laguna Seca, in the afternoon, which was really cool. It usually happened during the lunch hour before the afternoon race started, that they would do a little exhibition for us. But I remember one year they brought the Blues out to Laguna Seca, and they took them around the track in the Indy cars, right? And then some of the drivers got to go up, I guess, in one of the planes. They took them over to the airport, and they went flying in the plane. And what was really interesting was watching the guys interviewed, these pilots that do these incredible maneuvers in the F-18, what are they, the F-18 Hornets, right? Mm-hmm. So the pilots that do these incredible maneuvers and stunts and everything, to a man, they said, what these guys do on the racetrack and the speeds that they're driving at is crazy. I would never do that. And conversely, the race car drivers thought the pilots were mad.
Yeah, it's funny because, we've taken people out racing out on the bay on sailboats who drive fast cars and, fly planes. And they're like, you guys are crazy. You're going so fast on the water. How do you do this? And we're like, we're going 10 miles an hour.
Just seems faster.
It just seems fast and scary because you're so close to the water.
Gosh, could you imagine what their reaction would be if you could get your boat up to 30, 35 knots?
Oh, jeez. That would be scary. Even for me.
Yeah. Hey, Google is going to enter the $254 billion gaming sector with a new streaming service. What are they up to?
Well, talk about disruption. We've been used to gaming and have had gaming for, ever since you had Pong way back in the day. And it's always been with consoles, right? You had to have a device in front of you, like an Xbox or Sony's gaming console. And Google's been working on a project that they finally revealed this past week called Stadia. And it's an online cloud gaming service that allows you to play some of the most sophisticated games that are out there without a game console. You can play it on your phone, you can play it on your PC or on your tablet. And it's going to change the entire world of gaming, which, as you pointed out, it's north of $230 billion a year that people spend on this, because now it's going to let people not have to buy these expensive gaming consoles, or in some cases, gamers will build or buy these very sophisticated, high-powered gaming PCs that they use to participate in some of these games. But a lot of those games are now going to be available online, basically streaming like you would stream Netflix to your TV or to your tablet. You're going to be streaming these games and being able to play without any sort of sophisticated equipment at your house. Yeah. So a huge leap forward for people that like to play games. And I'm not a gamer, so I just participate from the sidelines and watch. But they are developing a special special controller like you would use with an Xbox or with a Sony PlayStation that would just connect to your PC or to your tablet or to your TV screen if you wanted to play it on that. And, you'd be able to play right along without having any sort of gaming console.
So does this mean the end of gaming consoles like the Xbox and the PlayStation?
Not immediately, because I think what you're going to see is that there are certain games that you're not going to be able to play because of the power required. In fact, Google admits that the amount of CPU that they needed to be able to do the streaming service required them to work with AMD, who's a processor manufacturer similar to Intel, to develop proprietary new technology on chips, on CPUs, so that they can actually do what they wanted to do. So it's going to be one of those things that, at least initially, I suspect a lot of people will test the waters, folks who have never bought a gaming console. It's going to be a subscription service, so you're going to have to pay something to use it. But once it's out there, who knows? I mean, I think one of the things about Google is this will create the ability for anybody who wants to play a game at any time to participate without having to go to the store and buy a gaming console, plug it in, set up all the wires, do all that sort of stuff. So it may actually expand the number of people that get into gaming because the barrier to entry is going to be so low.
Right. So you have to buy for a lot of people, it means buying a new laptop to get into this kind of thing. But then you get this really super powerful laptop. Now, not only can you game on it, but all the other things that you would do with a computer, you'll just have that much more power.
Exactly.
That's really a smart way to go. Like you say, probably eventually it's going to mean bad news for PlayStation and Xbox.
Yeah, I think you'll see probably, especially Microsoft, because they own Xbox, and they're going to look at this and say, well, if Google can create an online streaming service, so can we. Because one of the things that keep those devices around for a while is there are certain games that are proprietary to each one of those. Like an exclusive game that Microsoft might pay to develop or develop themselves that it's only available on the Xbox. So you're going to see a lot of that, which means that content is now going to be the king.
Right.
Gaming services will all move to this streaming online service, and then it's going to be a matter of who has the best games and the best experience, and those are the people that are going to win.
What kind of download speed will you need at home to be able to play these games?
According to Google, you're going to need broadband, so you're going to need at least 30 megs of download speed.
Okay. And
you're going to need, says that you're not going to need a whole lot of processing power on your device that you're going to be using, but where they're aiming for is, right now the games are available at 4K, around 60 frames per second, but they want to get them to 8K and 120 frames per second, which means it'll be more lifelike than life.
Wow.
So it'll be a real experience for people who will be gaming on the Stadia platform, but that's probably a year or two away, that level of gaming power.
And the buy-in, of course, is, it's going to be a lot cheaper than some of these, standalone things. It's still a lot more than what we used to pay when we would go to the bars and play Pac-Man, right? You used to sit at those bar tables that had the Pac-Man game embedded into it.
Yep.
And all you needed was a stack of quarters, right? Just a stack of quarters. I remember going to El Torito's and Bullwhackers in Monterey, and they only had maybe 3 or 4 of those tables, and there was like a line of people that's where I want to sit and drink my dollar beer, right there.
Yeah. Well, gaming is such a huge industry. I mean, not just for people that buy the consoles, but, the esports and this concept of gamers who compete with each other in stadiums and people bet on who's going to win. So this will allow that sport or that particular thing to expand to, maybe new and more lucrative places because you're not going to need a lot of specialized equipment.
Right. Well, it could be a new way to meet people as well. I can remember that Pac-Man games on the bar tables were a great way to meet some young ladies, back in the day, but we'll just stop right there.
Yeah. I think it's safe to move on at this point.
Louis Alvarez, CEO of the Alvarez Technology Group, joining us this morning, kicking off the Experts program on Power Talk Radio. Online, go to alvareztg.com, @AlvarezTG. That's the Twitter handle. And Louis, the toll-free number for the I-Team.
Give us a call at 866-78-I-Team. That's 866-784-8326.